Hello and welcome to NPS Now, your source for news and information about Norfolk Public Schools. I'm your host, Karen Tanner, and with me today is a very special guest. I'm glad you're here today. Her name is Livia Berg. She is this nutrition education and communication specialist at our school nutrition department. Welcome to NPS Now, Livia.
Thank you so much for having me today.
I'm glad to have you, and welcome to Norfolk Public Schools. You're new to the district, but you're definitely not new to nutrition. So tell us about your background and your position here with Norfolk Public Schools.
So I worked in DC for 3 years in nutrition education at a food bank and at another organization called Share Our Strength. And this past year, I went back to school to become a registered dietitian at the University of Delaware. So I'm proud to say that as of July, I'm officially a registered dietitian nutritionist, which means I am an expert when it comes to all things food.
Wonderful. Well, we're glad to have you here with Norfolk Public Schools to help us out, our students and our parents. So what are some new school nutrition initiatives you're working on to bring awareness to healthy eating here in Norfolk Schools?
So we are proud to continue serving high quality meals that meet our federal nutrition standards and even exceed them sometimes. So all of our grains are whole grain enriched. Our meats, when possible, are antibiotic free, and we serve mostly fresh produce as much as we can. You know, sometimes, depending on the season, it can be a little bit more difficult, but we definitely serve fresh produce most days of the week.
So what type of healthy options and opportunities are we offering our students for breakfast and for lunch?
So our menu changes every day, so children can have a different menu option. And it's really up to them to choose what they want to eat. So each day they have a choice of an entree, which can be anything from our oven roasted chicken to our salad bar at high schools to meatloaf as well, all meeting sodium and fat federal nutrition standards. And they are supposed to choose a fruit or a vegetable daily, and they need to take 3 different items to make a complete meal.
And so that's like for lunch, but what are some of the breakfast options? Because the kids are getting ready to go back to school, so mom and dad or auntie or grandma wants to know what are they going to be eating for breakfast. So what are some of the breakfast options they have?
So they have yogurt, Greek yogurt parfaits, they have breakfast pizzas, they have fresh apple slices, an assortment of milk of their choice, and juice as well.
Yeah, my daughter loves that breakfast pizza, so glad to hear you guys are bringing it back.
And if any parents want to know what's on our menus each day, we do have our menus online for each school, and they can visit us at npsk12.com/nutrition to find our online school menus.
That's great, and I had an opportunity to meet you before, and we had a little chat about, you mentioned a campaign called Eat Like Me. So what is that new Eat Like Me campaign supposed to look like?
So we'll be launching that later this year, and that's one of our ways to promote healthy eating throughout the school district. And that's where we're going to highlight various persons at each school and have them kind of take us through their school meal choices each day. And we'll tie that back into how this is what they're eating to then do their schoolwork, to be a successful principal, a successful teacher, and really how their school meals fuel their day.
You also have been doing, our district before you came, we did taste tests. Is that something we're going to continue with our students?
Yes, so our school nutrition managers do a great job presenting really delicious looking meals that meet our federal nutrition standards that help children choose complete meals at each school breakfast and school lunch. But they also do promotion events throughout the school year as well, which include our Taste It Tuesdays or Try It Thursdays as well. So just keep an eye out at your schools to see what's happening.
Taste It Tuesdays, Try It Thursdays. That's going to be kind of fun for kids. What would that kind of look like?
It varies from school to school, and we really work with the school to make sure we're meeting their needs.
That's great. That's great. Also, what do you have planned for National School Lunch Week? That's coming up in the month of October.
Yeah, so that'll be mid-October, and the year's theme is Lots to Love. So we'll be really showing how much love we put into our school meals and how we serve it to our children as well. So that might include some behind-the-scenes footage, and that will also show what school meals our staff really love to serve our students, and having our students tell us which school meals they love and what they love about school lunch.
what do you think might be some of the hot meals that, or breakfast or lunches that kids may want to eat this year that's new or different?
So new for our middle school and high schools are that we have a new Monterey barbecue chicken sandwich, which I've tasted it. It tastes amazing, and I hope they'll like it too.
So that's going to be a taste test one. Okay, so we normally do the taste test on the elementary, middle, or the high school levels?
So each school will have different taste tests. It depends on if we're planning. We try to do taste tests with every school.
Okay, good.
Whenever we're putting something new on the menu, we want to have their feedback, because I might think something tastes delicious. Kids might disagree. It's always hard to predict what they might think, so we really want their opinion anytime we add something new. So those will happen throughout the school year.
So are there any new vegetables we want to try to introduce the students to this year?
Well, through our Fresh Fruits and Vegetable program, we'll be introducing fresh fruits and vegetables A to Z at 10 of our different elementary schools. So for some background, our Fresh Fruits and Vegetable program is a program that's federally funded to help elementary school students try new fruits and vegetables, with the goal of encouraging them to eat more fruits and vegetables throughout the day. So this year at the beginning, and they get to try a new fruit or vegetable outside of meal times as a midday snack, either in the morning or in the afternoon. And every student gets to participate at these schools. And we're doing fresh fruits and vegetables A to Z, so they can try a fruit or vegetable A through Z. They'll have a little passport that they can mark down what they thought about the fresh produce and if they liked it or not as well. So it comes with a nice little lesson plan for the teachers to use with the students, and as well as gives them information about what they're trying that day as well.
Well, that's great information for parents to know who are watching the show. So what message you want to give parents that you really want to drive home of how you're trying to help their students to eat more healthy?
Well, all of our school meals meet federal nutrition standards, and if you eat with us, you can succeed anywhere.
Wonderful. Thank you, Olivia, for joining us in Norfolk Public Schools and joining us here on the show today to talk about the new initiatives coming through school nutrition.
Well, thank you for having me.
Great. And we want you to stay tuned for more NPS Now.
Welcome back to NPS Now. I'm Steve Sutmiller, Senior Coordinator of Athletics. Today in the studio we have a former alumni from Booker T. Washington High School and a current NFL player with the Detroit Lions, Don Carey. Welcome, Don.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Appreciate you taking some time to come down here to talk a little bit about yourself and some of the things that are going on in your life that we think that can be beneficial for some of our student athletes to hear. So let's talk about first growing up in, you're not from Norfolk originally. No. So you grew up in Grand Rapids. So talk a little bit about that, and then how'd you get to Norfolk?
Sure. For the first 13 years of my life, myself, my three sisters, and my mother were in Grand Rapids, Michigan. And it was an interesting time in my life. Definitely set the character for who I am today. Not going to say we were dead poor, but we had some struggles. My mother was reconnected by to an old friend, by my auntie, who had spent some time with her in the Navy. And next thing I know, literally within the span of a month, we moved from Grand Rapids down to Norfolk, Virginia.
Okay. So you got to Norfolk. You're a young ninth grader, and you're enrolled at Booker T. So talk a little bit about being at Booker T as a student athlete.
It was definitely a culture shock, you know, coming from Grand Rapids, where a good bit of the city was my family, right? And I went to high school, my first semester with my older cousins. Coming down to Booker T, which was drastically different. The environment was different. I didn't know anyone, and I always tell people you have to be a different individual to walk through those halls. Okay. Not to say you have to be better or worse, just different. So it was an adjustment for me, but I grew to love it though.
So growing up in Grand Rapids, did you play football from the young age?
Since I was 5.
Okay, so
I played since I was 5 years old.
All right, so Booker T got somebody when you showed up ready to roll, and I know Coach Stepney was happy about that.
Funny story. So my mom and I went up to the school to talk to Coach Stepney, and she introduces me as this is my son. A boy is bad. Like she said in that and coach says, yeah, but he's small though. That was his first thought of me. But he's been a great role model and influence in my life. Even to this day, we talk all the time.
Great.
Yeah.
So being at Booker T, and then obviously you went on to Norfolk State, how did Booker T kind of help shape some of your values moving forward? Oh,
man. Being around individuals like Coach Stepney really set the character of who I am. Just kind of like my upbringing. He was one of those individuals who cared more about the student than he did the athlete. He's a great coach. You know, we had some successful teams there, but he cared about us as men and the type of men that we were growing up to be. So he really worked hard to instill within us principles that many of us didn't have, because a lot of us didn't have father figures at home. So he did a great job of that. From the educational side, I got my love for technology and architectural drafting from classes I took at Booker T. So off of whims, I took a technical drawing class, one of my best friends, and didn't think I would like it. I ended up finishing the curriculum half the semester, and then move on to the CAD program. And when I graduated Booker T, I went to Norfolk State, and I majored in building construction technology.
All right, so that's a good lead in Norfolk State. You got recruited by Norfolk State.
I did. Well, not initially.
Okay.
I did not. So I made a highlight tape and I sent it to Norfolk State. It's before Coach Adrian was hired. And the coach then, I'm going to say Coach Giles was his name, slips me now. But he pretty much responded and said, hey, man, we don't think you have the skill set. I was a small kid. You know, I graduated 145 pounds. I was small. And he didn't think that I had what it takes to play on the D1 level. So they denied me a scholarship or a walk-on opportunity. That regime passes. Pete Adrian comes several months later, and I'm one of the first individuals he calls for a full ride.
Okay, great. So going through that process, and a lot of our student athletes go through that process, they have multiple offers. Did you have any other offer out there to attend the school to play football?
I had partial scholarships to several places. Nothing, no full rides. I had academic scholarships, several academic scholarships I could have took advantage of. Villanova, Richmond, stuff like that, but Norfolk State was the only full ride that I received.
Okay, so obviously you're at Norfolk State, you go through your 4 years, and then after that, man, something special happens. You get drafted. So
I get drafted, and I didn't think I was going to get drafted. The process that I went through up until the end of the season was something that happened to, you know, a bunch of players coming from Norfolk State. You will always see scouts coming in. You would always see them pulling guys aside, talking to them, going in meeting rooms, watching film. So the process of scouts coming in to see me wasn't anything different from what I've seen before. And we had some great players come through that could have made it to the NFL, in my opinion. The thing that kind of really made me think I have a shot is at the end of the season, when the agents began to call and individuals not only wanted to sign me but pay for my training. That was something that was different. I started to think maybe I have a shot, right? And once I went down to train and I saw the competition I was up against and other DBs, I really got the feeling that I belong here. I can do this, right? So I was invited to the East-West Shrine Games, first in school history. I was invited to the Combine, and there I performed very well.
All right. So, so talk a little bit about, now you've been in the league for about 9 years now.
Just finished my 9th season.
Okay.
Yeah.
So talk about the experience to date.
Oh man, the NFL is everything you would hope to be and a bit more. You know, Sundays, I do Sundays for free, right? And I get paid for Monday through Saturday. That's what I tell people all the time. Just the feeling of running out of the tunnel, the feeling of making a play and 70,000 people cheering your name, man, it's hard to put that in words. But I've loved every minute of it. It is extremely time-consuming, the amount of studying and preparation, but the reward for it is something that makes it worth it.
Okay. So the NFL for you, and what I see for a lot of players, it's a platform. And you have a couple things going on. So talk about you know, your community service, and you were recognized in, I think, 2016 with the Walter Payton Award. So talk a little bit about that and how special that was.
Sure. So my love for the community and my passion for giving back really stems from my stepdad. Growing up, I watched him give so much. Even to this day, he's giving back to the community. You know, he's coaching at Azalea Garden. He started a nonprofit called Preps, which prepares high school athletes for, you know, college and SATs and things of that nature. And he would also bring family members into the home, allow them to stay with us for free. They go to school and they get back on their feet, and then he would help them find a place to stay. So I grew up watching that, and it kind of permeated into who I am, right? So I'm just doing what I was taught to do. I love giving back. I believe those in a position such as mine or any position of success should give back, because it's important for our youth to see individuals who look like them come back and then show them in a tangible way that it's possible to succeed.
Okay. Yeah. So you mentioned a few minutes ago that you got at Booker T, you were involved in the technology program, and you started something in Detroit called the STEAM program. Yeah. So talk a little bit about that and how that's evolved.
Right. So STEAM, for those who don't know, stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, Art, and Mathematics. And in 2014, I co-founded a STEM youth literacy program. We didn't have the art component into it at that point. And the purpose of that was to try to engage elementary school K through 8 about reading, but then also introduce them to some STEM topics. Right, we were working with several companies who had middle school and high school programs. We were trying to help establish a pipeline to get them through that sector, simply because we believe that individuals who have degrees in the STEM sector have a better shot at being productive citizens. So we were blessed. We passed out thousands of books to youth. I mean, at no cost to them. It was our joy to pay for those things, and our sponsors, of course. But once my wife and I branched away from that organization, we started our own nonprofit called the Don Carey Reach Foundation. Okay. Reach stands for Reaching, Educating, and Empowering Children in the Area of STEM. And we started several programs. We have our STEAM Youth Football Camp, which is a summer one-day program for around 350 students ages 6 to 18. And they will spend half the day on the field with me, right, doing football drills. Who doesn't like hanging out with an NFL player? I wish I was able to do it more at a young age. But then in the other half of the day, they're with companies in the area, in the STEM sector, that's teaching them what they do in an effort to get them excited and maybe want to join on with such company, you know, when the time comes.
So is this something that, you know, I know Norfolk Public Schools is looking at that, but is this something that you could bring into Norfolk to maybe assist in a camp-like atmosphere for?
Oh yes. I'm already in talks of hosting something like that. We have to lock down the venue and the date, but it is something that I plan to bring here, plus many more. The STEAM football camp is just one facet that we have going on with the Reach Foundation. We literally have the ability to take our students from where they are now to retirement with our programs. We can help them map out their journey. We can help them with collegiate preparation or vocational preparation if college is not the route they want to go to. And I am excited to bring those things here.
Yeah, we're excited too. So now recently you stopped by Booker T and were able to talk to a number of students. So what kind of message were you trying to get out that day?
Sure. I wanted to give them a few principles of things that really matter to me, right? And there were 4 easy points, and I'll recant them if you don't mind. The first one was passion versus talent. You know, so many individuals have several talents, right? They can do several things very well, and they can make money doing those several things. But it's the things that you're passionate about that give you the best chance of rising to the top of that field. And so many people don't follow their passion, rather they follow their talent, be it because of social norms, be it because of peer pressure. But I wanted to talk to them about following your passion instead of talents, right? And never let societal norms or others dictate the level of their significance, but rather work hard every day to show them why they need someone such as themselves. And point 2 was to educate themselves about the things they're passionate about. So passion is awesome, but there's a saying that says passion is the wind that blows out the flame of the mind. And by that, if you're so passionate that you never really think about what's going on and act in a logical way, then you run the risk of being very busy but not very productive. So individuals who are passionate about something and educated about something have a higher chance of being successful in that field. For example, if I was passionate about being a doctor, but I didn't educate myself about the human anatomy, I'm not going to go very far.
Yeah.
Good
example.
Right. Thirdly was to be audacious. You know, just have the nerve to step out and branch out and do something different. You know, and oftentimes it takes individuals willing to step out of the norm to do things. You know what I mean? And dare to be themselves. One time Kobe Bryant said he didn't become great until he took Michael Jordan's poster down, until he dared to be himself, right? And now we know who he is, one of the greatest of all times. So yeah, those were the. Oh, well, the last one, I'm sorry, to be consistent, have a stick-to-itiveness to you. The young man who made the movie Get Out, it slips in my mind. Everyone loves that movie. It came out last year, but it took him around 10 years to make that film. Right, 10 years in the making. So you have to be committed along with your passion and your intelligence. So.
Okay, so you have a book that we could probably find these 4 points in. So talk about that book and give us the title.
Right, so all these principles I found in the book and many more. It's entitled "It's Not Because I'm Better Than You." And the purpose of the book stems from the travels and speaking to young adults, high school, college students, some corporations. And I'm always asked, you know, how do I become this 9-year NFL player? How do I become known as the best at what I do in the NFL? And I always tell people it's not because I'm better than them. And by that, I mean there are many variables that come into play other than my talent. I've never been the smartest, fastest, strongest, most talented player on any level, I mean from Booker T on up. But I've always been able to succeed. And I write down those principles that I believe that have helped me get to where I am. And I think it's something that can help the reader as well. It doesn't matter the area of vocation you want or what you want to be in life. It's not something that's specific to football players or athletes in general. I have examples because I believe that football really it really carries over to so much, right? So many other vocations, but it's something that I think can help a lot of people.
Okay. Don, I mean, this is great information. I mean, we hope all our student athletes, and not just student athletes, but students in general, can take a glimpse of this and listen to your message, because you got a powerful one.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
We appreciate you coming down here, and we hope to see you around the community helping us out.
Sure. And if you don't mind, if the viewers would like to get the book, they can get it from Amazon.com.
Okay.
Or they can, if they want a signed copy, they can go to notbetternthanyou.com and order from there, and I would send them a signed copy myself.
Right.
And if you want to learn more about the Reach Foundation, you can go to our website, reachfoundation.org, REECH foundation.org.
All right, great. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
All right. More NPS Now after this.
Welcome back to NPS Now. With us today is Bob Clinebell. He is the Senior Director for Transportation here at Norfolk Public Schools. Welcome back to a new school year.
Well, thank you, Karen. Thanks for having me.
I'm glad to have you on the show, and I'm glad parents who are tuning in today are going to be excited to hear what you have to say about school transportation. Real quick, though, tell me a little bit about our transportation department. How many buses do we have, and how many miles do we really travel every year?
Okay. Well, we run a little over 200 buses every day, and we actually have over 1,300 routes that we run, throughout the school year. And on an annual basis, we have approximately 2.3 million miles that we operate.
How many students are we transporting each day or a year?
Well, we transport approximately 11,200 students on a daily basis, and that's, to and from school, athletic programs, after school programs. So it's a little over 11,200 students.
So you are ready for back to school.
Well, we're almost there. Drivers will report Friday.
Wonderful. So how can parents find out when and where their child will be picked up on the school bus for the first day of school? You know, do tell us at NPS, and I get that question all the time, so do tell.
Okay. Well, there's a couple of ways that they can find out where their child's bus stop will be. First is the Norfolk Public Schools website, and under the For Parents section there's a link to it says Find Your Bus Stop. So they can go on there, click on that, and follow the instructions that are there, especially if your child's going to one of the specialty program schools. It's a little bit different than just from a normal regular school environment. So they just need to follow the instructions, and the instructions are printed on that web page. And then they enter their information, and it should bring up the information for their child. The other thing is each school will receive the bus routes for that particular school, so they can always check with the school as well. Those are a couple of ways that they can find out where their child's bus stop is, and the location, and the the bus arrival time, and the pertinent information.
Again, I do tell us at npsk12.com is for parents to comment or ask questions, and it's really important, I'm glad you said that they read the instructions, because the login is routing and the password is routing.
Correct.
So I think a lot of times they read real fast and they don't catch it, so hint, hint, parents, the login is routing and the password is routing.
Yeah, and especially important, again, if they go to one of those specialty schools, just a little more detailed information needed.
Right, right. So say if the bus is late or didn't show up, what should parents do?
Okay. Well, at the start of the school year, they can expect there's going to be some delays, especially the first week. Right. As the bus drivers, get familiar with their routes, and then also with the students at the particular bus stops. So, we ask that the students be at the bus stop 5 minutes prior to the scheduled time. So, allow a little time there for the drivers to come. So, again, probably the first week they may run a little late. But I mean, if parents are concerned, or if the bus seems to be running at quite a time later than it's scheduled, they could call our dispatch office, and that number is 892-3320. And the dispatcher has radio contact with the drivers. They can find out where their location is and how much longer to expect before the bus arrives.
Okay, so there may be just a little delay the first couple of weeks, but hang in there or contact.
That's correct.
Dispatch.
Yeah, and it's not uncommon, especially that first week, for the buses to run a little behind schedule.
Right. Now give us, our parents and our first-time bus riders, some tips.
Okay. Actually, there's a couple things that I would recommend, especially for first-time bus riders. For the parent, first locate where the bus stop will be, and then walk with your child to that bus stop, so they'll know the path to take, which be a safe path for them to. And if they need to cross any streets in a residential neighborhood, for instance, go over the rules about look in before you cross the street. Those sort of basic safety features. But then again, walk with your child to the bus stop. And then also on our transportation website, which is also on the Norfolk Public Schools website, a link to it, there's a lot of rules, bus safety rules that they can find there, some do's and don'ts. And if you get a chance to look at that and go over some of those with your child. Some basic features, like if you have to cross the street to get to the bus, that you cross in front of the bus, not behind the bus. Right. Cross in front. And then also make sure you got eye contact with the bus driver. So if you need to cross the street, that they know it's safe to cross. And then also, when you get on the bus, find your seat as quick as possible. And then, of course, sit in the seat facing forward. The things like don't stick your hands or your head out the window. Exactly. And things of that nature. So they can find some of those basic rules and do's and don'ts that are on the website. They could also Google, bus safety rules, and there's a number of links that they'll find from national organizations and other school divisions that have posted such information. And this might be exciting for some parents, but NPS is exploring the GPS system. So where are we with that process right now? Well, we're currently evaluating several systems to see which one would work best for Norfolk Public Schools. So, but again, we're still in the early stages of that evaluation.
Exactly. So we are always looking for school bus drivers, just like the region. So what are some of the qualifications or things that are needed to become a school bus driver with us?
Okay. Well, first of all, they have to be at least 21 years of age. And then, of course, they have to pass a background check. And, also we check their driving record to make sure they got a good driving record. So those are some of the basic qualifications. And if they're interested in applying to be a bus driver, they could go online and fill out the application for Norfolk Public Schools. And there's a link also on the web page, for that as well. So those are some things. And then, if they're always concerned about, driving a big vehicle like a school bus, we do provide training, for our incoming bus drivers. Actually, it's a classroom training which consists of 24 hours of classroom training, where you learn some of the basics of operating a school bus and some of the rules of the road and so forth. And then there's also a requirement to do some behind-the-wheel axle training. So they'll go out with a certified bus trainer, and they would actually, again, that's another 24 hours minimum that they'll undergo for that training as well.
And they'll have the CDL license.
Well, then they will be licensed once they pass the test, and of course, we do have some certified third-party testers, as they're referred to, who can issue the commercial driver's license.
And I have to note, and correct me if I'm wrong, we are the highest paid in the district or in the region.
Currently, we are, thanks to some recent action by our school board. So we are currently.
Right. So once again, where can parents go to get information about their bus stop, times, and different information?
Okay. Again, check the Norfolk Public Schools website, and again, under the For Parents section, there's a link there. Find your bus stop, and again, read the instructions and enter the information that's required to get that information. They can also check with their school that the child will be attending. They'll have the bus route information as well. And if all else fails, they could call our office, and we'll assist them the best that we can.
And give us that number again.
Okay. The best number to reach there again is 892-3320.
Wonderful. Thank you for coming on the show today. I know you made a lot of parents happy and some first-time bus riders as well.
Well, we're looking for a good year, and we want the child to have a wonderful experience on the school bus as well.
Exactly. Thank you for coming on the show.
All right, you're welcome.
And we want to thank you for watching NPS Now. It airs weekly on WNPS, Channel 47, or you can view us online at www.npsk12.com. If you have any great story ideas or information you'd like to share, email us at nps_news@npsk12.com. Again, we want to thank you for watching NPS Now.